and thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Send It ATV podcast. Today I have an amazing guest. He's from Maine, and normally we talk to club presidents, but this time we're talking to a trail master. If there's anybody who knows about trail systems and what it takes to manage them, this gentleman is it, and I am so glad to have him here today. And you can learn certainly a lot today from what he has to offer. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Dennis Brackett. How are you, sir?
Hi, Shane. Good, beautiful day up there in Maine.
Oh, that's outstanding. So I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you are incredibly busy right now with trying to keep things open, get things open, and working with the state and such. But I thank you for agreeing to meet with me today and just to talk about what's going on up there in Maine.
Well, taking the time's not a problem. When it comes to educating the public, we'd like to keep our trails as much as we can. So when you ask about ATV, and if we can just try and keep what we have and make our landowners happy, then I'm all for making the time to do it. Without our landowners, ATVing would be nothing.
Right.
They're the big ones.
Now, how many would you say, with your best guess, how many miles of trails does Maine have, and how much a percentage of that is actually owned by private landowners?
Well, that's a good question, and I would have researched that for you. Somebody else could tell you right off the top of their head. I think it's around 6,600 miles the state of Maine has.
Okay.
And I don't really know. I did know how many was private, but I bet 98% of it is private.
I would be surprised if it's not that high. I believe there's very little owned, public trail services. So
state of Maine owns some old railroad beds that they bought, but our particular system right here in Patten, the state of Maine only owns 4.5 miles of rail bed.
Mhm.
All the rest is on private landowners, and that's why we got to be extra special to make sure that we're not offending them, because without them, there's no riding.
Right. So let's kind of start off the season. Like, what have you completed already? I know you've completed a lot of projects already this year.
We jumped right in at the very first thing for a couple of reasons. We had the time. Our president, he is down for mud season, so he took the time and I had the time off. We had one bad bridge that we knew we was going to get into. We was going to do that no matter what. So we jumped right on that very first thing and replaced the 45-foot bridge. And then when I got looking to redeck one, we decided to make that longer, more stable on the banks and everything. So we ended up doing another bridge the week after. So we done 2 45-foot bridges, and we resurfaced 1 mile of trail from the bridge out for 2 reasons. One's it was awful bony, rocky. The other reason is when we was in there with the excavator, we made the trails had some little deeper ruts than what we'd like to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we resurfaced that while we was there.
Oh.
And we done some box dragging already. Big project right now, we went to a number system on all the trails instead of names. We had a new map made with 7 other clubs, and it's a number system. So now we're out drilling holes, putting poles in at the beginning and at the end of each trail. putting new signs up with the numbers on them so people can find their way around a lot easier.
Okay.
So that's a big project going on right now.
Right. Okay. That is a big project. That's a lot of signs. Mm. So as a trail master, do me a favor if you would and tell everybody, what does it take to open up a new trail in the state of Maine?
Well, that's one of my things that I wrote on our Facebook page quite a while ago, to just remind people how much work does go into this. First of all, you got to find out an idea where you want to go from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like to get there. So after you figure that out, you got to go to either the town office, wherever they keep the records for your deeds, and find out who owns all the land from point A to point B. Well, after you find out who all that is, now you got to contact them to get written permission for you to have an ATV trail.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a nightmare because you don't have their phone number or nothing like that. All you got is their name, sometimes addresses, and sometimes it's other people looking after their land. So you got to track them all down, and then you got to get them to say yes. And sometimes it's real easy. They'll say yes. Other times they want to know why, and have you got how much insurance, and you got a lot of questions. And then after you get their permission, you got to go out and walk out land and find not only the best environmental reasons to put a trail in, where, but you also want to remember you don't have much money to do it. So you want to find the easiest way, but you also want to make it environmental friendly. So you got to do that. After you do that, then you got to go in and make the trail. So either you do it by hand, or if it's not too bad, or you take an excavator or a bulldozer and root out the rough stuff so you can get a trail through. And after you get the trail through, you got to put all your signs up for people don't want to get lost. People's got to stay on that trail, or you're not going to have it, because the landowner only gave you permission for a certain space. So you got to put them up. Then you can open it up to the public and let them ride. But even after that, you got to maintain it. You got to pick up garbage that people leave. That's one thing landowners don't like, is garbage, and I don't either. It's one of my pet peeves. I hate garbage. And then you got to make sure if a mud hole comes, you got to fix a mud hole. If the water's not draining, you might have to go back, put a culvert in. You got to maintain it. So there's a lot of work goes in it, and if people actually helped out in the club, they might be a little more apt to realize what it takes to make a trail, and hopefully respect the landowners a little better, and the club, not just landowners, but when you're out there messing around, you're not really respecting what the club's done for you. Because up here in Maine, you either need club trails to ride on, or you got to go get permission yourself from that landowner to be legal. But that's what the club does for you. They already got the permission for you. So now all you got to do is come up and ride.
Well, I'm a huge advocate of if you're riding the trail system, that you should not only support the club monetarily, but definitely support the club with at least a weekend of your time and just help out. And of course, me currently, I'm in basically a part of 3 or 4 clubs at the moment, and I even volunteered for a club I'm not even a member of, and just because I knew, well, I might ride those trails once. But do your part. It's a small thing to do. It's fun, and you get some good camaraderie going when you do it.
Yes, and it does. The clubs don't have enough volunteers to really do uh, what's got to be done. I mean, you got brush cutting. Uh, Trees are always growing out in the trail.
Hmm.
They reach for the sun. The limbs get out there, and then people whines because they're getting hit in the face. Well, uh, our particular club has around 100 miles, and for one or two guys to do that 100 miles, believe me, it's a workout.
Yeah, yeah, that's a week's worth of work. No problem at all. I mean, sheesh. Um, yeah, so yeah, many hands make light work, and so yeah, definitely. If you're seeing this, make sure you get involved. Um, so what do you have coming on later this season?
Uh, we got one, it's a washout up on a high kind of a mountain. And we thought about putting culverts in, but be honest with you, I don't really like culverts. They plug up, and if they plug up in a big rainstorm or something, you could lose the trail real easy. And then you got to maintain it.
Hmm.
So if you only got a four-wheeler trail, it's pretty hard to get a loader truck or something in there to unplug that culvert. So
Yeah.
this one, when we replaced that second bridge, there was already a bridge there, but it was only 23 feet. And the framework on it will actually fit where I want to put this culvert. So we're going to actually put a bridge in, and it's also a snow sled trail. So we're going to make it 16-foot wide so the snow sled groomer can go over it.
Okay. Yeah.
And it would actually be better than a culvert for the groomer. So we try to think ahead a little on the snow sled season up here in Maine. We got both, and they're both big sports. So
Sure. Yeah, that's
we're going to
great.
kill two birds with one stone, the old
Hmm.
saying goes. So that's on the next agenda right off. In August, we always have a event. We started, I don't know what it is now, probably 5 years ago. Uh, we call it hometown heroes, and it's a poker run. It's a big gathering, and uh, we named it after one of the boys that got killed over in Desert Storm, and it's for all of our servicemen, women out there. Every town has hometown heroes in it,
Hmm.
and it could be a fireman, could be a policeman, but out of respect for them, we started this event. We always have it in August, on the second weekend of August.
Okay.
So that's takes something to prepare, because you got to go out and mark the trail real good for where you want to go,
Hmm.
so people not from the area can get back around.
Right.
And at the same weekend, the town has a little thing going on in the town called Pioneer Days.
Okay.
So we try to incorporate it to bring people to the area, and just have a good time and weekend. Our president, he started a, for the kids, we call it a candy drop. And he has an airplane. He drops candy out of the airplane on the airstrip, and the
Oh,
kids
okay.
run after the candy. So that's a great time to watch the kids, and
Hmm.
we really enjoy that.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What's something that's unique about your riding area, would you say?
I think the uniqueness of the area is you can come across any kind of terrain out there. You got grass trails, you got dirt trails, you got rocks, you got mud trails. Whatever you want to ride, you can find in the area.
Hmm.
Not not just our club, but we hooked to 4 other clubs, Shin Pond Riders, Knowles Corners, Island Falls Freewheelers, and Katahdin Wheelers. And every one of them clubs have 100 miles like us or more.
Mm.
And we hook all around with them. So you can go from our trail, jump right onto another club's trail, and keep right on riding. Basically, you could ride for days and never see the same trail.
That sounds
You know,
amazing.
you can make a circle. Instead of coming back the same trail, you can come back a different trail. So the uniqueness I would say is you're not riding the same trail and you're seeing all different kinds of territory,
Mm-hmm.
along with the wildlife and just the sights out there.
Right. What's the maximum width for your trail system?
Well, state of Maine, right now, we don't have a maximum width rate as far as our trails go.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Maine just passed a law. It's going to be 65 inches.
Okay.
And they put a weight limit on it. And to be honest with you, I don't know if they upped the weight limit or not. That they was talking about making an amendment. It was 2,000 pounds, but somebody told me they jumped it to 2,500. I can't tell you that. I'd have to look it up and see where the law did get changed.
Right.
But I do know they voted on the 65 inch. So it will be 65 inches. And I don't know if the landowner wants to let you go be wider, if they're going to allow that, if the state's not going to put money in that trail. I don't know where
Right.
the details are going to be that. But to me, personally, the landowner owns the land. They ought to be able to dictate what they want.
Mm-hmm.
We have most of our landowners. We do have some that don't allow dirt bikes. And there's a lot of yelling about that out through all the states, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
I know some places in Maine here, they allow dirt bikes and some places don't. Most of our landowners don't care, but we do have some that don't allow dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And we got one landowner that you must belong to a club that belongs to ATV Maine. And there's only 23 clubs out there that actually has this landowner. So you got one of 23 clubs that
Mm-hmm.
you can join along with ATV Maine to ride their land.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what the landowner wanted. And it's actually a good idea because they make one phone call if they got a problem and they know who to call. So,
Right. Right.
and it also makes you support the trail system.
Yep.
So in a way, it's a good idea, I think.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think, like I said, I want people to be involved both financially and physically, and help support these amazing trails. It's an amazing sport, but it takes a lot of people to do it, and we need people to get involved. It's the same 5% all the time doing all the work, and it's unfortunate. So as the popularity of the sport increases, and equipment's getting better and better, so more and more people want to do it, and looking for something to do outside. What's one of your big concerns you have?
The biggest concern I have is loss of trails. People not respecting them.
Mhm.
It's happened already. I mean, all you got to do is look around. Trails have been shut down, and it's due to lack of respect of the landowners, not staying where they're told to go. The
Mhm.
trails are marked. Stay on them. If you take a can of soda or lunch with you, pack it in, pack it out,
Yep.
take your litter with you. It's a big concern. Respect that landowner. I mean, that landowner is the only reason you're there, right?
Hmm.
I can't tell people enough that if that landowner says no, you're not going. And if you do, you're going illegally. So I'm for stiffer penalties for breaking that rule. That's the only way you're going to keep these trails. If you want to keep going and expanding this, you're going to have to respect that landowner a
Hmm.
lot more than what they are. People seems to take it for granted, and it's not. The landowner's the reason you're there, and you're going to have to stay on the trails, respect his property, and hopefully, when people do that, more trails will open up. On
Right.
kind of this, there's some landowners. That's what I hear. Well, they're having a problem over in this area. I don't want that to happen in my potato field. I don't want that to happen in my woodlot. And I mean, it's a tough sell. How are you going to sell a guy when just 2 miles down the road this actually happened? You
Hmm.
know, you can't deny it.
Nope.
We're, we all know each other up here, and word travels fast. So respect that landowner. If not, sell your machine, stay home, or go to one of them packs that allow you to go anywhere you want to go. But as far as this trail system up here, I just soon see you stay home if you can't follow the rules.
Hmm. Stay on the trail or stay home. And
That's I'm a firm believer in that.
yep, yep, me too. I mean, like just courtesy goes a long ways. And if you talk about taking out your own trash, but even like if you see something that maybe might have inadvertently fallen out of someone's unit or whatever, if you see it, pick it up. Take it with you, and it takes you
Definitely.
2 seconds. And
That's another thing we done this spring. Before we even went riding, we talked about it, but this year we actually did it. The weekend before the trails open, and this was more for the town, because the town opened up all their streets to us for access trails. So in our town, we can go down the street, go down to the store, you know. So that's a big benefit to the town, for the riders and for the town businessmen. But we wanted to give back, so we decided we'd do a roadside cleanup. So we started at the Pack and Ride. 15, 16 people showed up, and that's what we did. We went with four-wheelers, with pickups.
hmm
Some people walked. I invited bicycles, but people walking, it didn't matter. Because it was for the community. It was a community effort. And we
hmm
picked up roadside. We had 4 trailers of garbage, and a local businessman that is actually, he's one of our board members for the club, is
hmm
in the garbage business, and he took the garbage for nothing. Uh, we'd like to thank John Meyer on that, but that was awful good of him. He knew what we was doing.
hmm
And then we had 2 loads of, believe it or not, tires. You wouldn't think there was 2 pickup loads of tires out there, but uh, we picked up 2 pickup loads of tires, and we're talking car tires, not ATVs.
hmm
So that was a good community thing.
That's great. Very good. Awesome. Well,
And another local business on that same day, our downtown deli, we called it, Deb's Deli there, they donated all the trash bags. And when
okay.
we was all done, we had another sporting business that Shin Pond Village fed us. They gave us hot dogs and soda. So with the community working together out of a club and you're supporting businesses, they know how important it is to bring business in. With us all working together, we had a good day, and it made the community better.
That's fantastic. You know, it's a win-win for everybody, really. I mean, it's just making the community nicer, and it's great PR for the club and being involved and showing that,
Yeah.
hey, you know, we're not out there just making noise. We actually do some work around here.
And going back to that, I can't leave this business out either. Flatlanders invited us to a supper, which was already planned for the trail workers, because we done the trails earlier. But they was good enough to invite all the people that picked up the community garbage, and they fed us a big supper at the local restaurant here. So there was 4 businesses right there jumped right on board and helped, you know, the ATV club, because it does help us also with memberships coming out, working on the trails. It showed them that people appreciated what they did.
Right.
So
that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, Dennis, what is the best way for people to get a hold of your club if they want to get involved, either join or volunteer?
well, thanks to our secretary, Laura, she got this computer thing, and it really put us on the map. We got a Facebook page, Patten ATV. We also have a website, pattenatv.org, and I think it's .org. Anyway, you'll find the website on the Facebook page.
Okay.
You can message us. You can see what some of the projects we have done. There's a phone number on there for all the president, vice president, me. You can call any of us. If you want trail information, probably it's best to call me. To be honest with you, most of us don't even ride. We started this for a community, hoping to help the community and the local businesses. And I had 2 young fellows that was growing up, and we could see that we needed a trail system when you started having to have permission to go everywhere. So that's one reason I got in it 11 years ago, and we started one right here in town. And with local businesses supporting us, we've come a long ways. We wouldn't be nowhere near without some of our businesses helping.
That's great.
But we'd love to have people join us and help out. Help comes in many ways, not just money. It can be work. If you can't work, money's great. It could be a piece of steel that you have. I use flatbeds to build bridges. The framework's excellent. I mean, I've had local guys give me flatbed. I got 2 of them right here in town. Yeah, go hook in it, take it. And I mean, one of them was going right down the road. He said, "No, you guys are doing great. Go hook in it and take it."
Cool.
So, you know, that saved a lot of money when you go build a bridge. I had I-beams right there, you know, worth about $4 grand. So it was a big benefit to us. But
Definitely.
we scrounge as much as we can. But anyone that volunteers something, it helps. Believe us.
Goes a long ways. Goes a long ways. Well, Dennis, thank you very much again for your time. I appreciate you being on today, and hopefully everybody here. Just remember, you know, get out there, have a good time, but stay on the trails, be respectful to the landowners, and just know that there are thousands and thousands of hours to build these trail systems just for you to enjoy. And, you know, if you see some trash, I know it's not yours, but pick it up, help everybody out, And let's keep the trail system clean and keep private property landowners happy. And as you're driving by their homes, if you drive by a home, make sure you slow down and keep the dust levels really low. Because think about it, if you had your windows open and somebody went by your ATV and dusted your house after you just got done cleaning it, you wouldn't be very happy. So just try to be as considerate as possible and have some fun and make sure you send it. Have a great one.
Thank you, Shane.